We are ready for round 3 of series 3 of what I'm calling the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is, to get you caught up, this is a eBay dealer that I bought some coin lots from 2 years ago, and I saw him selling one again. He had the most diverse group of best mix of coins that I've seen in an eBay inexpensive lot. And this is bag 3. He put them into 4 bags, so each bag's about £1.25. I paid $57 for the whole lot, and I've gotten $30 of value in about 3 or 4 coins out of the first 2 videos. And so I'm satisfied with this product, even if all of this is trash. But I call it the good, the bad, the ugly, because not only are there great coins, there are also some damaged, cleaned, and gross coins that we find in here. So we're going to dump these out and see what we have got in here. So, don't really need any British pennies, but this one almost makes me wonder if it was a proof coin that someone just pulled out of a proof set. This one's pretty interesting, I think. So we've got from Denmark, from 1990, Margaret II. A 20 kroner. And so, if you remember, the Denmark has not gone on to the euro yet. And so, based on my memory, I feel like this has a foreign exchange value that's pretty significant for a coin that you can find in a foreign coin bin. So this one's probably worth more the exchange value than the numismatic value, although I'd say it's in pretty nice shape. But I'm going to make a wild guess here and say in United States money, this is worth $2.80. So always good to find something like that. Here's from Norway. We've got a 50 ore. These are pretty good. I think this one has a pretty good price guide value. The 50 francs with the B mint mark. The B is the much rarer version of the coin. And before we get too far in this video, I'm not a grader. I'm going to call this extra fine. I'm going to look up the price of that because I know some of these coins from that era with the B mint mark are much rarer and have a better value. Let me pause and look it up. Well, maybe the B mint mark doesn't help very much on. Now that's 100 francs I've got up. Let's scoot over here. This is the 50 mint mark, and so actually the B must be more common than the no mint mark on 918. But what's the year in this one? 1954. So 54 is the key date. If we're going to call that extra fine, that's a $20 coin, according to this price guide. So if you're willing to say that extra fine, if you're calling it uncirculated, and at the time they're talking, this is an older version of the Krause catalog where they don't go to brilliant uncirculated, so they're going to call this an MS60, would have a price of $40 on here. So you can decide what you want to grade that one as, but I usually don't sell individual coins like that. I'm not sure I could get that kind of money for that coin, but I've gotten that one in the past, and I've been holding on to it, just wondering how I could get some good value out of it, and I'm not sure that I could. But to find one that's in bad shape, we've got this Switzerland 1 cent, or not cent, but 1 rappen with a hole in it. So that's not good. Another one that's not good, this one, Japanese 1 sen coin, has been in the dirt or something. It's got some kind of weird residue, but that's a 1 sen coin. There's the way that this would have been a nicer coin if it hadn't started tarnishing, but it's in zinc coin where it turns white over time. But it looks like 1948 on that 10 groschen coin. That eventually became an aluminum coin. This one has some pretty good luster on this 10 pesos from 1979. I'm going to skip over some things that we see pretty common, but from Olaf V, we have some, we tend to find animals on this set. So we've got a horse on the 1 krona coin from Norway from 1973. We're going to skip over common stuff. There's a little bit of tarnish on that one. The half penny from 1944. Another half penny. This one is Edward VII, but good condition, but it's fairly old, so 1902. So is that the first year of Edward VII? So at least it's old. Here's another French coin in better condition than I normally find it, so that's 1919. 5 centimes. So I like that one. From Peru, this is from 1935. So that's a pretty hard to find coin here. Unfortunately, they'd stopped putting silver in their coins by this point, but they got a half a sol in here. Large brass coin, I think. But you get a really good design view of the shield on here. An alpaca, a tree, and a cornucopia at the very bottom. So you can perceive some pretty good details on that one. I like that one. So we had a Edward VII coin a moment ago, so we've gone back to Victoria on this British penny. Now, a coin that you very often find well worn, but it does date back to 1897. Got a little bit of damage to it, but not too bad. That's pretty ugly. What is it? Oh, I didn't even recognize it as a Chuck E. Cheese token at first. It's kind of gross. That's for Luxembourg, 25 centimes. From India, we've got a 2 Anna coin from 1957. Here is just an American 1-cent coin from 1945D, if you care about American wheat pennies. So throwing away, going past common stuff. And not too common, the British 1 shilling from 1948. This is a more modern Belgium 1 franc. 1991 Belgique version. Had a couple of those in the last video. I like this one. Here is from India, quarter rupee, 1946. At one time, the quarter rupee was made out of silver. By this year, I think they'd made it copper nickel. But I like the tiger that appears on there, so I like finding that coin. So here is a zinc Missouri sales tax token. Going to be a 1 mil on there. This is nice shape. A Belgium 10 franc from 1972. I like the look of this one. There's a lot going on in this design. Kind of hard to see exactly what's on there. To me, it looks like a stage that has a curtain going around it, and lots of things on the stage, like lions on a shield in the very middle, and it is kind of busy, so I don't know exactly everything that's going on there, but that is a neat look. And then a very plain look on this side. You've got the monarch and the I guess the mint master or the designer of the coin, Iram, I guess. So we had the 2 drachma of this design in the past video. There's the 1 drachma. There's a this one may be cleaned, or maybe it really is. No, that one's clean because it's sort of well worn. But that's from Germany. Stalk of wheat. It's got some shine to it, but it's also well worn, so that one is not in original condition. Got a Chuck E. Cheese token that is not gross. I wish that you could still spin those tokens at Chuck E. Cheese, but they don't use coins or tokens anymore. Canadian penny with George V. Here's the newer design of the 10 groschen from that is not zinc but aluminum, and I'm only showing it off because that one's got some good shine to it. Here's a game token from Howard Johnson, Lake Buena Vista, Florida. So if you're outside of America, Howard Johnson used to be a popular chain of hotels. There might still be a small number of them. They even had a chain of restaurants at one time, but Lake Buena Vista, Florida is where Disney World is going to be located. So they're encouraging you to spend more time at the hotel and not at the theme park by having tokens. So, so we had the in the last video, we had the 5-cent coin from the Netherlands from 1948, where this design lasted for probably 50 years or more, but only the first year will you find Queen Wilhelmina on it, and then every year from 49 up until they stopped making it, they had the queen, the next queen, looking to the right. And so I always want to point that out every time I find the 1948 version of the coin, because that's the only year you have it. I think this one is Barbados with the pig on it. Bermuda. I'll show this one off since it's got some good luster. From Australia, this is the 1-cent coin from 1979. And let's check the year 1979. The first year this coin was made, I'm making a wild guess and saying 1966. There are some variations from different mints, the size of the claws that's on that animal. So that's one thing to look out for. We've got a 20 francs that it does not have the B mint mark underneath the date on here. That is, what kind of token is this? Provincia del Guayas? Still don't know. I'm guessing this is like a telephone token or something. It's hard to read with the concentric circles. So 1988 to 1992, Liviano, Provincial del Guayas. If you know what that is, let me know, because I don't recognize it. From Spain, 1975, here is the 25 pesetas. The date of 1972, in good shape. Here is an Oklahoma tax token that looks like a dog chewed up, because it is made out of aluminum. Here's a 10 shekel, or shekelim, from Israel, featuring some kind of old rowboat. We've got Queen Elizabeth II with a sailboat on here, 10 cents, 1986. And we've got another 20 kroner, so there's another 280 from 1990. So I forgot the year of the last one. This one's a little bit dirty, but certainly a good coin for my trade pile. This is our first euro of the video, so I'm glad that I'm not getting many of those, but I don't find the ones from Ireland all that often. Another modern coin from Denmark. This one's dated 1993. That would be the 25 ore, so probably the lowest value coin that they make. That would have a foreign exchange value of about 3 cents. Here's a cleaned coin from France. I think it's clean because it's all shiny. The 100 peso from Mexico, not rare at all. Always like finding the kangaroo pennies. In this case, a half penny from Australia. That was dated 1942. Decent condition. Maybe I don't like the spot by the A that ends Australia right there, but otherwise that's good. That one's nice and shiny. Makes you wonder if that one was a proof coin that was pulled out of a set. We were looking at these earlier, where I pointed out the 1948 version of the coin was what you don't see as often, but here's the version that's very common. I have a pile of about 100 of those, about 5 feet away from here. Same design, 25 cent. Got a Fiji coin, 1978, that's the 10 cents, featuring some kind of wand or shaker stick. I believe this one's from Ecuador. It's a 5 centimos. I'm wrong, it's Venezuela. 1983. Here we have from Thailand, Very, very common coin. There's probably hundreds of millions of these because they kept the same date on them. But there are two versions of this coin. This is the newer version, which is much easier to find, where Rama IX has 3 medals on his lapel. The older version of the coin, which would date back to the 1950s, he has 1 medal in his first video. Here's a German coin that features some of their hyperinflation. It's a 200 mark from 1923 with an A Berlin mint mark. This was just, if I remember the last time I found one of these, I was surprised that they still had a silver 1 mark coin and an aluminum 200 mark coin at the same time. But there's also, I think, a 300 or a 500 made at about the same time. That one is nice shape. So glad to find that one. Here's this Austrian 2 Groschen with some good mint luster to it. So here's the first coin of the video I don't recognize at all. 5 centavos from Ecuador, and that's not a design I recognize from Ecuador, so that's 1924. We're going to save that one and look it up at the end. We've been finding a lot of older coins from India, so here's a half anna from 1943. This is when they were British controlled. George VI. Here's a United States wheat penny from 1910, so I'm not going to have a good value, but it's older, so I'm sure someone in the United States would pay 5 cents for that. Here's a zinc Reichspfennig from Germany with an F mint mark. So some people would find that controversial, and I look at and just by seeing this coin, it reminds me I'm glad that they were defeated, and so that we can, thankfully, they're not the ones who were ruling the world at the time. So after that downer, we've got a coin from Ceylon. Now, I will say that with those German World War II era coins, that there are a lot of people that who are not interested in coins that will collect those because they're World War II history enthusiasts. And so there are people who will collect them even outside of coin collectors. But here we have a half cent from Ceylon, and that's not a coin that I find very often. 1940, but it's another that was British controlled at the time. So it says that George VI is the king and the emperor of India. And I always find that interesting how he's listed as the emperor of India and not, let's say, the emperor of Britain or the king of Britain. Here's one from Pakistan. Gonna be a quarter rupee from 1951. So that's one of the earlier years of Pakistan coins. Older Malaysian coins, the 10 cent in this case, features that government building. So during this era, all of their coins had that same reverse design. Had a couple of these in the last video, 1/12 of an anna, featuring George the Fifth. I got a bunch of these in a recent, probably last year. Got a whole bunch of those that were in good shape, just like that one. Here's a 10 centimes coin from France. Pretty decent condition. 1939. That one probably should go in a flip to save it. Here is the reduced size of the 10 agarat coin from Israel, featuring a pomegranate. We've seen several of the 1 shekalim from previous videos in this series. Then here is a 1 bolivar from Venezuela from 1977, and this coin ran from about the late 60s to the late 80s or even the early 90s, and they made a lot of subtle differences to them over the years. So that's one thing to look for in your catalog. From Czechoslovakia, we've got a 2 korunas from 1972. That's when they were socialist. The Mexican 50 peso. Haven't featured one of these in a while, not rare at all, but this is a coin from Mexico. It's a 10 centavos coin featuring corn from 1979, and there are two variations of this coin depending on how many rows of coins, or I guess you could say the fifth row of coin goes a little bit further on one version than the other version. And so you really have to get deep in there to count the rows and actually see them side by side to figure out which version you've got. So here's a 3 paisa from India. That one's in kind of well worn. The Aladdin's lamp token, Aladdin's castle. The copper nickel 5 francs from 1971. That was in good condition, 1979. 50 centavos, so that's 50 centavos. I'm surprised how often I can find that one in this good shiny condition. Featured one of these in my last video where I said that for the longest time I didn't even realize there's supposed to be stars that go down the handle of here, because I always find it well worn just like this. That was the design even on their flag at the time. Here is from a Portuguese controlled country at 10 centavos. Country is Mozambique. And so seems like these days the most common Portuguese controlled country I find is Mozambique, but they made coins like this for Angola, Sao Tome and Principe, Portuguese India. So there's lots of different countries that had this design, Cabo Verde and others. And we have this coin from Bermuda with the 2 fish. So let me look up this Ecuador coin for our, let's look that one up in the catalog, see what we've got. Well, I don't have an arrow next to it, so I didn't have this coin. I guess it was in fine shape, so it's worth about $1. Catalog number is KM65, 1924. It says H, so I'm guessing that there's a heat and mint mark on there somewhere, and I didn't see it. But if you found that uncirculated, it would be worth $9, at least from the price guide 25 years ago. It would say it was $9. So let's see if we can find an H mint mark on here. I don't see it on that side. Unless it's above the 92, I don't really see the heat mint mark, but I guess there's only one version of this coin. But still, that's, you know, these days when I can find a new coin from my collection in a lot like this, I call that a win. And so this is our third lot that we looked at today, and some good coins. And I've got one more video in the series, and it should be the thing I upload the next. All right, I'll catch you next time. Bye.